Welcome to episode number 95 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, host Stephen Loeffler at Junk Wax Twins.
Oh, hi.
Ben Wilson at our trading cards, and I'm Tim Scheffler at Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors. I'm going to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live, as well as on Twitter About the Cards. We have a podcast. The podcast is pretty much available everywhere. Check out the website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. We have a hobby icon with a special guest host tonight, Ryan Cracknell, Beckett Media hobby editor. What's up, Ryan? How are we doing tonight, bud?
Good. I feel like part of the NWO with that intro.
You like that, right? We had to get new music because the other one sounded, kind of hokey. We had for a while, and some people have actually said they miss it. To me, it reminds me of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays uniforms. Like, we thought it was a good idea when we started. We realized, no, these uniforms are trash, and we need to do something, so we rebranded just a little bit, trying to look a little more professional.
It's the story of my life.
That was definitely a Bill Veck special, some White Sox shorts from the 70s.
Yes, definitely. So, guys, how's your week been? How's quarantine week, like 6 or 7? I don't even know where we're on. I can't even count anymore. But how have you all been?
So I guess nobody's going to answer then. No.
Well, I was waiting for you to say something, Steph.
Well, obviously. No, it's been great. I'd been busy at work, stepping up a little bit here and there, and trying to keep everything organized. I finished Bowman Chrome, Bowman Draft Prospects, Bowman Chrome Prospects, Bowman Prospects, Chrome, Bowman, everything that falls underneath that branch, except for Bowman First Edition, because, well, nobody can get it.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that later tonight. So, outstanding. Let's get into last week's releases, the week that was. Topps Living Week 110. We had card 303, Dylan Betances, pitcher, New York Mets, and card 304, Bo Bichette, rookie, shortstop of the Blue Jays. The numbers did not update today, or I didn't see them, and I kind of believe that's due to they had some site issues and some things going on there. So I expect to see that probably or late tonight or early tomorrow. So we'll have an update next week of where that was. It was probably a pretty decent week. I mean, speaking of Bichette was in there, so we will see. It was a New York week, and we have a similar theme this week. And here's what the cards look like. Francis's new team with the Mets, and and that Bo Bichette picture comes from the father-like son picture with him and Kevin Biggio in the batting cages. So from 2020 this year. Also last week, 2020 Topps XFL Football, the one and done. In the 1920 Upper Deck O-Pee-Chee Platinum Hockey all dropped last week. Hot off the presses, this week's new releases. Topps Living Week 111. Card 305. We have Julio Teheran, pitcher of the Los Angeles Angels. And card 306, Gavin Lux, rookie second baseman of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So it was all New York, or it was New York and Toronto last week and all Los Angeles this week. And Teheran's on a new team with the Angels. And it's a pretty good-looking card. They got a good smile on him. And then Lux is looking all kinds of serious. So not a pretty exciting week. We'll I like that. That's a good like happy photo, and
kind of
Angels have a good looking cap.
Kind of reminds you of like the Francisco Lindor one. The huge smile. It's interesting too with Gavin Lux being serious. Side by side this week. It's yin and yang. It's night and day. It's kind of a fun contrast. Tragedy. Yeah.
I thought Lux was like resting on a fence or something. He looks kind of sleepy to me.
Yeah.
It looks good. It was just kind of
taking a nap pre-show.
Yeah, they're both solid cards. I like them.
He's just looking for Max Muncy to get out of his way, right?
That's right.
So he can go play. So check out at Topps Living Stat for a full breakdown where these cards fall respectively in the set by team and position when those drop. We also had 2020 Bowman First Edition drop online today. Topps.com only product. It's $14, $15 a pack. You're going to get 10 cards a pack. Basically, it's the 150 card all prospect base set stamped with the first edition. They said it's going to be on sale for 3 days via Topps.com with limited availability of packs per day, which ended up being, I think, 24, which would make sense for like a retail box. Is they usually sell on their site as 24 packs. There's 7 parallels numbered to 150 or less. Chrome autos are going to be randomly inserted. And the first time they actually did the stamped, or they did the first edition releases, were in 04 and 05. Mm-hmm. Some prospects to look for on the 150 checklist. Wander Franco will have a card in there, and Adley Rushman. But you're also going to have first Bowmans of Jason Dominguez, the Yankees prospect, Bobby Witt Jr., and I'm not sure if this is his first Bowman or not, but Glenn Allen Hill Jr. That name just kind of stood out to me because I loved Glenn Allen Hill. And I'm not sure if this is his son's first or second Bowman release. I think it's a second because I think he might have been in draft. But the name was just too cool, and I was like, hey, we're all about the juniors lately. You know, Bobby Witt Jr., Guerrero Jr., Tatis Jr., you know. So. But I know people had problems going on, and they were supposed to go live. It was between 4 and 5 Eastern, so 1 o'clock here, 1 and 2 on the West Coast. And I went on about 5 or 6 minutes to 1, and they were for sale. But you had to log in to make your purchase. And when I went to try to log in, I kept getting the 505 error that everybody was receiving. And I tried for a few minutes, and I stopped. And then I saw later they tweeted out, hey, we're trying to work on the site. It'll be up later. I guess it was because they ended up pushing out more sales after that. I've seen packs of this being listed already as a confirmed order from on eBay for like $60 for a pack that someone paid $15 for, which, hey, you're free to do. And we all knew that's kind of why everybody was trying to chase them down. So, but guys, what do you think? I mean, are you excited? I saw the Royals and the Giants each have, I think, 4 guys. So I might try to run them down as a team set, but I'm not going to lose my mind over it if I don't ever end up with one.
A lot of it depends on what they sell for in the secondary. I'm curious to know how much of this actually gets opened as opposed to stays closed. I mentioned on the Hobby Hotline this past weekend, if that's your thing and you do get your hands on some of this, it might be really, really smart not to open it. Just kind of keep them closed and wait for the baseball season. Especially, maybe Ryan knows how they're going to be packed out, but I imagine it'll be a closed pack, like that black pack right there.
I'm assuming so. That's what I know. Okay. I wasn't there for the pack out.
Yeah, if you I thought they flew you down for every pack out so you could observe it and witness.
Well, then I would be. Well, I guess I'm stuck at home already. But, yeah, our border's pretty closed right now.
It would seem like this is the pack.
I would imagine.
A mock-up.
Yeah, if that's the pack, then you're not going to be able to see inside of it. So that's going to help. Obviously, if it was a cello pack or some kind of a visible pack of some sort, then that would change the variable altogether if there was a huge name on the front. But, what a disaster. I mean, if you're going to roll out something like this, it's going to be huge because everybody and their brother's going to want to grab some Bowman with the Bowman base having been pushed back at least until the end of May. And the site crashes. I mean, I know we know a few people. Our friend Chris from Cracknell confirmed that he got 24 packs today, but how many people actually got packs today? I don't know.
I got close. Mind you, I was hitting refresh on my computer for about 2 hours and getting the 503 or whatever the error number. I think I actually had like 4 different error numbers at some point, but yeah, it is what it is. I did work out. If the math holds up, the platinum, the 101 parallels are like 1 in 1375 packs, 1375. And if there's 150 of them, that gives us like 200,000 packs. So that was kind of one of those. If I wanted to be persistent and get I think I had 10 in my shopping cart, and I ultimately decided to go make dinner and move on. And I might try again tomorrow. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not a huge Bowman guy myself, but the Jason Dominguez, I'll admit I'm falling for the hype right now. He looks really good, and he plays for the Yankees. And if I manage to have one of his cards slide across my desk, that helps fund a whole lot of expos.
That's true.
No, it definitely does. James in the chat says this is exactly what Topps wanted. Blowout use their bots. And his Topps is going to ship a few big packages. And I believe, the thing with the bots, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, but I believe that's going to kind of be eliminated because you actually had to physically log in to do that. I was logged in before 1 o'clock and just to make sure like I had all my payment information was all saved and ready to go, or my shipping address and all that stuff, because I used the PayPal through there. But I want to make sure everything was logistically right. I didn't close the page. I went back, and when again I was already logged out. So you physically had to log back in. That was a big part of the problem, and I think that's what they were trying to do because of. We're going to talk later about the Project 2020 and some of the artist proof stuff, and I believe that's why they were making you log in, so it wasn't just you go in and you're able to put them in the cart and get to a checkout spot and then able to fill out there. You actually had to log in first because before you could add stuff to your cart and then go and log in once you were in the cart. So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced anything buying anything from Topps directly, but I believe that's how the process was before. We also have 2020 Topps Definitive Collection dropping on Friday. It's going to be around $1,100 a box or so. There's some varying prices, but it's definitely very hot. It's 1 pack per box, 8 cards per pack. You're going to get 6 autographs, 2 mem cards. There's 48 cards in the set, all numbered to 50 or less. If it's unless it's a cut, all the autographs are going to be on card for us. So you're going to have retired players, rookies, and veterans on there. The cuts are going to be one of ones, and a couple of new additions this year. They're going to have the Defining Accolades autograph and Defining the Decades autographs. And they also have one of ones that will have brand logos or jersey buttons, laundry tags, MLB logos, or team logos. So some nice patches coming out of this product. Besides, really like, I don't know what's much higher than definitive when it comes out is like, a comparable thing would be what National Treasures for Panini, as far as like the patches and the buttons and that stuff that's coming out of the boxes.
Yeah, it's nice stuff. It's just that's not my realm myself. It's I might pick up a couple here and there if there's some players that I like for cheap, but it's a whole different realm from what I'm used to.
Oh yeah, you're talking. If you have a box for $1,100 and 8 cards, like that's some serious coinage per card.
Yeah,
well, and one, I would hope that all of them are on card, especially if we're going to do it at that value. But 2, there better not be any plain just regular white relics, or no offense to the bat, at least there's the auto there, but you should hope that they're not going to have just your plain Topps rollout relic auto.
I don't think we're going to see something we'd see in like a flagship product.
Right.
This is always one of my favorite breaks to watch, products to watch breaks of, and just be an observer from far away. It's like, okay, it's not my money that's being wasted, but hey, I can enjoy it just as much as the next guy while they're opening it. And then it's especially when you have a good breaker too, and they get really excited behind it, and they're pumped to be even opening the product. That adds to it a little bit for me. That's to be out Friday. And then one more product this week, 2020 Topps Transcendent Collection Hall of Fame Edition. Baseball drops Friday. I didn't see an exact price, but we all know they've gone for about $25,000, $26,000 a case before. 50 cards in that box. You're going to get the 50-card Hall of Fame Icons base set, 50-card Hall of Fame sketch card reproduction set, 40 Transcendent Collection autographs, one Sandy Koufax through the years autograph that's a one of one, a 1954 Topps baseball superfractor autograph, one of one, a cut sig, which is a one of one, a sketch card one of one, a graded Hall of Fame buyback, and one VIP experience invitation. All cards all autographs are on card, and Sandy Koufax, they're going to be using with his, through the years, that's all using past Topps designs. And then there's some cool things in there, like the oversized cut signatures. They have some like full, like like induction classes, the Hall of Famers, like 4 Hall of Famers.
It's a nice touch.
Which is pretty cool. And I heard Doug and Dan talking about, or especially Doug on Mojo Break talking about this, how they this is the first time they've not done Transcendent. And they had an opportunity to buy as much as they wanted of it, but they said no because they noticed that the Hall of Famers, when they're in regular Transcendent, just don't carry the premium the price tag of the product actually carries. So when you sell spots and people trying to, like, even if you try to break even or recoup, just really isn't there unless you hit just like the perfect guy. Like I'd say like the Jackie Robinson autograph would probably do you pretty well. But even having, Sandy Koufax's autograph in there, is it going to set the world on fire? And being and everybody's looking for Trout and Ohtani and Tatis and Guerrero and all those guys and Robert. That's what drives the Transcendent product. It's not the Hall of Famers because they sign, and they'll sign for pretty much whatever you want. And they have their lineup of guys. So I just don't know how well this is going to do. Plus the invitation, like the VIP experience. Can we even see that happening in the next calendar year?
Who's going to be there? They haven't said who's going to be there, and yeah.
So I know what you guys think. I saw George Brett has a card in there. I'll keep an eye out. I'm not going to bend over backwards to find it, but if I find, somebody that spent $25,000 and they're trying to, you got to assume a base card's going to run you, what, $100 maybe?
Not necessarily.
For 20 in the pat, for Expos. So Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson. I personally haven't paid more than 20. I've waited a while, but patience can pay off.
Yeah, I've gotten Ivory Henderson for between 25 to 35. The sketch cards, I think I paid a little bit more through Brent Williams last year because there was 4 A's in the 2019 Transcendent, and so I bought it for like $40 a piece, $35 a piece. I forget what it was.
Now, are the sketch cards as good as the ones they have in gallery?
They're better. Yeah, they're what gallery wishes it could be. But look at that Garrick that's on screen. If you're watching and not listening, it's a solid base card, much nicer than the regular Transcendent's been in the past couple of years. I'm very curious. There's a Eckersley and a Henderson base. I'm curious to see how it compares to the regular Transcendent of the last couple of years, if they sell for more or less, because there's only going to be 50 of them this time. Last couple of years there have been 80 something cases.
It started. I think the first year was 50, then was 87.
Mm-hmm.
First year was like 60, 62 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a weird number, and then it was 87, and then went to I think 100 the last couple.
Yeah, last year was 100. So.
Yeah, it'd be now you're talking about out of 50 premium, how many of them are actually going to hit the secondary, as opposed to people that do have that kind of coin. If I was independently wealthy, I'd buy a case and just keep them all, because why not?
Yeah, no,
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about having lots of junk wax era sales.
Well, the big thing about this is the VIP experience. I mean, that's usually what sells somebody to get into this, because that experience of going down and getting to meet XYZ superstar, getting the swag bags. I mean, because the Transcendent packs this last party, they got like 7 or 8 of them in your little giveaway bag, and those packs were selling for quite a bit of money, So, and all it had was cards that were, stamped with the Transcendent logo, and so people got really excited about them, and so we'll see what it does. And again, this is one I'll watch from afar and enjoy and go, hey, that's cool. God, if someone gave me that, I'd be happy. But I'd much rather take that $25,000 and do something a lot more valuable than open a suitcase of baseball cards, I guess. That buys a lot of 87 Topps.
I was trying to look these up to see if I could find anything comparable on eBay, and this is my only result. Sold 10 through for 172. I'm presuming that's the Canadian dollar there. How is that even remotely getting your money back?
Well, that's for definitive.
Is it?
Yeah.
What? Stupid eBay. I search one thing, it gets me the results for another.
Is part of it
last night, bud.
Is part of it too. There's a lot of Transcendent out now. Like this is the second one in a month. Not that tennis is comparable, but there was tennis, and then we have the wrestling one coming up. You know, maybe in a month or two. And I don't know. I'm not a breaker, but that seems tough.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of high end stuff trying to put out there, and especially at this time too.
Yeah,
you know, we talked about, was it a couple weeks ago, guys? They had like at one point like flawless football and was it National Treasure or something was all dropping like at the back-to-back weeks with you know, one of the other one high end baseball product, and was like our tribute baseball was coming out. That's a high end, but it's a, you know, higher dollar product, and it's like, man, that's a lot of like. And then everything kind of started getting pushed back and moved around. So make sure you check out Ryan's articles on Beckett.com/news for a lot of more details and some great photographs and team breakdowns on all these releases. It's a great resource, especially if you're like us and we're putting team sets together. We're team collectors. They have all of that in there. If you're a player collector, you can see all the different parallels and autographs and mem cards that might be associated there. So let's hop into what's brewing next week's release. Next week's releases. So we have some updates. So last week I told you, God, we had like 7 things that were supposed to come out. So 2019-2020 Panini Noir got moved from the 22nd today to May 15th, along with all of the following. So it looks like Panini's pushing everything that was supposed to come out this week to May 15th, hoping by then they can get it out. But these all could change. 2020 Panini Contenders Draft Picks Collegiate Football, 1920 Mosaic Basketball, 2020 Score Football, and 2020 Sage Hit Draft High Series Football got pushed to the 13th, different company, but it looks like they're all pushing it out about a month to hopefully be able to get all these out here. Currently, nothing really scheduled for next week, but we're going to keep an eye on that as things move on. We talked about Cardamundi being shut down in Texas, and now allowing the product to get out. So we could have like a lot of awesome products all dropping at once, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, where if so much comes out at once, does the price come down so we all can get more of it? Or does it drive everything up because everybody's been waiting for it? I don't know.
I suspect, my guess is, number one, I wouldn't even necessarily rely on those dates at this point.
Yeah.
Until we know that factories are open, everything else. I haven't seen anywhere online anything official for Panini dates. Mosaic is starting to show up at retail. So, but that's a different beast too, because it might have been ready to go and everything else. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff, and this is just me speculating at this point. We'll kind of have a normal release schedule, maybe a few more, but there's going to be a trickle-down effect. So the things that were supposed to be coming out in June, you know, we might see those shift to July stuff to August and whatnot. And yeah, I'm curious. We haven't experienced this, so yeah. I think everyone will be making it up as they go along and hoping for the best, and we shall see.
That's what I was going to add. Is that falls right in line. Speaking as someone who currently lives in Texas, that their current orders are to stay in place until May 4th. So to see these pushed a week, it change out nearly 2 weeks. Yeah, it's not surprising.
Yeah, and so it could just be assumption, and we're going to keep everybody updated on this. And the thing is like, hey, we can't lose our minds on the product not coming out when it's supposed to, and it'll get there when it gets there. It's going to come out. But you know, it's one of those things we were talking pre-show. Let's err on the side of caution. We've already been in this thing for 6 weeks or 7 weeks or whatever everybody's been doing, and it's like, what's a few more weeks at this point versus having to redo this thing all over again a few months down the road, right? So. You know, and we have the NFL draft coming up this weekend. So we're going to have kind of a sporting event type thing. It's going to be different. I'm a big draft nerd. I like to, ever since I was a little kid, I like to see why the teams are trading, what they're trading, and who they might pick. And kind of try to outsmart who's picking guys and having some fun with it. My buddies and I are setting up a Zoom call to watch the draft together and talk some smack to each other. We always do our own mock drafts, and we all throw in a few jelly beans, and the winner takes all. And it's a good Thursday night. So, just take it out as is and enjoy our show. Enjoy the Hobby Hotline as we hop in Infield Chatter, the Hobby Talk section. Hobby Hotline is going to be live this Saturday on YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, with Val Mars of NASCAR Radio, Drew Herndon from Let Me Get That Potograph, and some guy named Steph Loeffler from About the Cards.
Howdy.
Will be on. I was really sad to miss last week's show. Drew hopped in for me, so I appreciate that. But I heard we're having I don't know if we can announce it. I mean, do we just announce it because we're the first show this week? Because everybody else's shows come out after ours?
Yeah, we announced it. What are we announcing?
We're going to announce we're having a special guest, not as good as Ryan. I'm going to preface that. But it sounds like Tracy Hackler from Panini is going to come in, call in, drop in, hang out for a little bit. So that'd be pretty cool. It's a great week. It's a perfect week that Steph's on because Steph and Tracy go back a ways, and
of course.
And I know he and Drew have a pretty good relationship, so that's going to be great to see having Tracy on. At some point, we're going to have to Ryan to get on the Hobby Hotline so that he can be, the best guest we've had on that show.
Of course,
right?
Doubtful.
One other thing too is I think that we talked before this whole thing started when it was in the infancy stage around the national last year, and we were trying to find out who's all was on board and what it was going to look like, and took us 6 months to figure it all out. And we were talking about 90-minute show, then it became 75, then it became 60, and we've gotten a lot of advice from a lot of hobby iconage in the industry that said this show is going to probably take a lot more of our time on the weekends, which is fantastic. So anybody that does watch and listen to the Hobby Hotline, we might be going to 75 minutes to 90 minutes soon. So just kind of something, we all kind of agree that it's probably just going to, we need more.
Yeah, we talked about even possibly doing it where we switch hosts halfway through the show, like the second hour, and another set of hosts rolls in, and we have such a lineup of dudes. Like it's awesome, and it's fun. I was really sad to miss last week, and so whenever I'm able to be part of it, it's a lot of fun. And I did remember, so Ryan would not be the best guest that's ever been on there because we've had Dr. Beckett on. So
1A and 1B,
yeah,
but to speak to Ryan, if he were to call in, I mean, we've had Uncle Rich Klein the last couple of weeks call in first thing and then just sit with us the whole time.
Yeah.
And if, guys like Ryan and Jim Beckett and
Eric Gordon hung out a couple of times. He actually did a show with us one week. We asked him to come on and be a special guest, and he hung out a whole Saturday with us. It was great.
Yeah, no, and then that's what's cool too, is if one of the actual hosts of that week had to leave early, if we had somebody that like Ryan, for instance, because he's with us tonight, if he called in and said, "Hey, I'll take some calls or talk with you guys for a little while," it's like, all right, well, I have to bow out because I have another commitment. We have so many good people in this hobby that would be willing to hop on and.
But who's going to make sure his rider gets fulfilled? That he has the right amount of poutine and it's facing the right way, and then that he has all the green Skittles he wants.
It's Saturday morning. I'm eating Tim Hortons cereal.
There we go.
On Saturdays.
Yeah. We want you to do it on camera.
You have 75 O's in each bowl of cereal with 2.5 ounces of milk. Exactly. Or he will not eat. Yeah.
What's an ounce? What's an ounce? Metric, man.
Oh, there. Yeah.
What's a metric?
Jimmy Carter. So the Dub Club. I don't know if you guys are in the Dub Club, but I'm in the Dub Club. At Mosley_Mark or I Draw Baseball Cards. He and Dub got together. Who, by the way, Joey's gonna be on next week talking NFL draft with us. Tweet out, now is the time to get the Dub Mentality Club set for a complete set for $25. A reply was set. You also could buy single cards for $5 and let them know what player you wanted, and they would reach out. So Dub picked, was it 20 cards?
Yeah, I believe so.
And Mark drew the 20 cards, and then they made 25 sets of cards, and they're pretty awesome. I think Ben gets kind of trolled on the back of one of them, I believe.
He
and
does the 91 upper deck and McGuire, and I was just like, oh, I love that card. And then Dub's like, hey, look at the back of it. And he's like, I kind of trolled you on there. And it says, this is an iconic McGuire, et cetera, et cetera. And then at the end, it's like, but it's not as collectible as his true rookie card, the 1985. And I'm like, you son of a gun, Dub. I love the heck out of your face. But
yeah. So I hopped on right away when I saw this, and I bought a complete set. There's a Bo Jackson 86 Topps card that was, I think, the last card released or shown for the set. No George Brett. I'm not going to hold him against that, but I just love Dub's such a great guy. Mark's artwork is so cool. I couldn't pass it up, having this set. And they kind of went and took the Stadium Club logo and made the Dub Club, which is super cool. The Dub Mentality Club, I love it. So I can't wait to see what these look like in hand, and I'll show them off definitely when I get them. So outstanding, guys.
Yeah, you definitely have to do the break on here and speak of. I just found it.
By the way, I was watching Game 6 of the 91 World Series today, and that was pretty awesome.
It's a good game.
Yeah. The first half, the Bash Brothers with Canseco. Big Mac was the fiercest power hitter of the 90s. McGuire held the rookie home run record, 49 for 30 years. I always enjoyed his 87 Topps, but the must-own card was his 85 Olympic true rookie.
I don't understand why.
On the back of a baseball card.
It's true. And Dub said it, and Dub's an icon in his own right. But
by the way, I sent a picture out of I was going through a bunch of old cards, one of Bruce Sutter, and it looked kind of like Dub from far away, but with a little fuller beard. And I go, that 1 year Dub played for the Braves. So
what, $82, I think.
So we need to find a Shep card because obviously I played for the Rangers.
Yeah, it's Kevin Mitch, and
Steph currently plays for Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, I guess people have said Derek Jeter. I mean, I don't know. I feel more like Bob Hamlin.
You know that scene in Spaceballs when they catch the four of them and they turn them around and they're the stunt doubles?
Yeah.
You can be the Spaceballs version of Derek Jeter if you so wish.
There we go.
What would be in a Shep gift basket?
Yeah, Bob Hamlin works. I could see Bob Hamlin. I could see David
ever seen Bob Hamlin from the 94 Pinnacle and Chris Olds at the same time? That's all I wanted to know.
Don't think so.
Panini has struck a deal with the Elite 11. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Elite 11, but it's a student sports property, and they're going to have the organization's first trading card. So it's a showcase of the most outstanding high school quarterbacks in the country. I know for a while Trent Dilfer was associated with them. I think he's doing something else. But guys like Tua, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Teddy Bridgewater, Luck, Drew Brees have all been selected to the Elite 11. And so now Panini America has the exclusive rights to be able to show off the Elite 11 as their official trading card partner coming up. So these are going to be high school guys going into college that are going to be maybe possibly one day, NFL quarterbacks. So these are the pre rookies. I mean, like these kids are 17, 18 years old, or they're going to be seniors in high school, and they're going to have a trading card. And I look back, it's like, hey guys, you remember Mitch Mustaine? There's a long list of these guys that never, for whatever reasons, never panned out, never got to the right system, or they ended up at Second Chance U and ended up playing wide receiver at some other school sometime. So, or they turned out to be Drew Brees or Andrew Luck. So it'll be fun to see what these come out and what they do with them. I just want to know if you guys thought that, I've always said football, the only thing to collect in football, if you're looking purely at dollars and cents to collect is quarterbacks, and this is going to be like really their first card.
I just wonder how much it affects them so far out from their draft date, in that it's kind of like a sage product almost.
Mm-hmm.
and that's, hey, here's a guy in high school who's still going to have to go through college, presumably, and then maybe get drafted.
Yeah.
Oh, there's already precedent. You've got Leaf with their the All-American game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that perfect team. Yeah.
I personally, I admittedly, I don't watch a lot of football, but what I find as a collector is missing from the college level is you don't get cards of the college players necessarily, but these open that up. So if you want to do the prospecting while they're in college, because Trevor Lawrence had cards. That's his name, right? The
Yep.
quarterback with the beautiful hair.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, Tua had cards like when they had their big national championship moments. You know, there was already cards out there, and that I waffle on both sides of the fence on that one. You know, high school, that's really young to have like cards of. But there is that prospecting element if you enjoy prospecting that I think is really cool about it.
Yeah, Panini and the Stars and Stripes, they have the under 15 team.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those kids are, 13, 14, they're in junior high.
And I think there's even a 14U development team or 12U.
Yeah.
Development?
Yeah, they have an under 12 team now. So, because the only reason I know that is one of my friends from high school, her son they live in San Diego, and he was selected to be in the West Coast under 12 USA team. And I was like,
cool.
Yeah, until you look at the travel and, the time away, and it becomes a job at 12 years old playing baseball. So, all depends on how it pans out. But yeah, no, there's precedent and especially baseball with this. And I just think it's interesting, trying to do maybe a little something different. And then, too, like going after your guy if he's going to go to your college and you have the first one of his card. So I just think it was interesting to bring up. Elite 11 always does stuff with like ESPN where you can watch those competitions and watch them have workouts and do things there, and to kind of see like the ebbs and flows. If you've ever seen QB1, that's the Netflix show by Peter Berg. I think a lot of those guys have, like Jake Fromm is on that show one year, and Justin Fields, the quarterback at Ohio State, was on, and those guys were top prospects, and I think both of those guys were Elite 11 quarterbacks. So see what happens. But then you get like guys like was his name Tate Marte from he went to Ohio State and then he ended up at Florida or to Miami, but then he was going to leave there because he was going to play, and he was one of those guys, and so he's kind of flamed out a little bit. So
well, and there's obviously a stronger following in college for football than there is for baseball. I'm sure there's a following in baseball, but a lot of those guys that come out of high school go directly into the minor leagues. It's night and day. I would imagine that a set like this works much better in football. I mean, only time's going to tell, but it just seems like there'll be a lot of prospecting on the quarterbacks and obviously all of the offensive skill positions. It's something different. If you're a college fan, this is definitely going to be probably a product you'll want to look into at the very least.
Yeah, Tate Martell, that's it. So no, we need to see. So the National Hospital at Yanks Chick, Sue's tweeted this out. The Atlantic, we've talked about this on the show before, but it's in full blow now. The Atlantic City Convention Center Hospital is up and running, the place where the National is supposed to be hosted this summer. My question out to you guys is, will the National be held this year? Rich Klein had an update, but I even heard, think about it, will the National in Chicago in 2021 even take place?
I would assume that by next year, the world stops going to hell, obviously, being the disclaimer. Next year, they go up and running. This year, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think it's an uphill battle at this point for sure this year. I don't know. At this point, I'm pretty sure even if it does happen, I won't be able to go because Canadians aren't allowed traveling to the States right now. So we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think a lot of the dealers are East Coast dealers where this has really been prevalent. New Jersey and New York have been especially hit hard. And most of the dealers you look, they're older they're in that upper age bracket, right? So, and then I, as much as people want to talk about Ryan and Colin in their show, I listened to one of those recently, and they brought up the point. What about 2021? I mean, like, how far in does this affect this? Because, I mean, we're not even able to gather in groups of like 10, right? And if we're not having sporting events, for just having like 10 basketball players on the court together with the training staff and the players on the bench and the coaches and no fans, we're going to have that happen before you have thousands of people on top of each other touching and rubbing cards and rubbing into each other, bumping into each other and on top of each other, and all of that. So I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to have it. But I'm just saying it's something to think about at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna...
Go ahead, Ryan. No, go ahead, Ryan.
It's going to be up to science, really. Whether we get it sorted out, whether there's a whole lot of speculation about everything right now, but a lot of that is because we're learning this ourselves. In science, is a lot of guessing and learning from what went wrong or what didn't work. So then you keep honing it down until finally, you've got the right answer. And yeah, I think looking a year and a half from now, could it not happen? Yes, it might not happen next year as well as this year. I would say it's probably a little early. It would be pure speculation. If we're talking about this year, I think we can talk about likelihoods and everything else, but over a year from now might be, just think of where we were 2 months ago. Like this, we didn't even know what this was. So things can change in a hurry.
Oh, no, definitely.
Yeah.
No.
I was in a private chat with a couple of friends who are economics, gurus, and they are deep into the world of economics internationally. And we were kind of talking about this, and that topic came up. What happens if this starts to bleed into quarter 3, quarter 4, and how does that affect 2021? And if it goes into quarter 3, which it might, but if it really starts to get into quarter 4 and we start to see this into 2021 at all, we're talking about the dark ages of economics. We're talking about a depression that's going to put 29, out to pasture.
1929.
If we were talking about something that bleak, it could be the crash of this hobby as any of us know it. You're talking about potentially these companies going out of business, cards ceasing to exist, because you're talking about Walking Dead type stuff outside of the zombies. If it was to last that long, it could be the crash of the worldwide economy as we know it. And they're not suggesting that whatsoever. It was just one of those things. What would it look like if this thing lasted 12 months? Because you're already starting to see small businesses going out of business after 30 days. Because as much as most people live paycheck to paycheck and couldn't go more than 2 to 3 weeks without a paycheck, and most of us are on two income households now. If you're talking about the fact that all small businesses would probably be out of business. Large corporations would be out of business. I mean, it would just be, it would be bad if this thing lasted that long. And I can't see it really lasting that much longer. I think the world is going to be open up to some degree by June 1st at the very latest.
Well, thanks for making us all upset now and me just wanting to light all my baseball cards on fire.
Not yet. Not yet.
No, I already did it.
No, you might need those in 2021 because you might need the fire. Yeah.
Could 1987 Topps be the currency of the world?
Oh my God, I love this idea.
I would be so rich. I would be the Jeff Bezos of that new world.
So then, what would this would be the point though? What would the Mark McGuire be if it was the new currency? Is Mark McGuire? What do you guys have down there? The penny? You guys still have pennies?
Yeah.
Yep.
If 87 became the currency of the future, let's just put it this way: I am the richest man on earth right now because of my 600 plus McGuires.
No, your eyes are sparkling on my screen right now.
Yeah. So that I want to see this article by the end of next week up on Beckett.com. What happens if if the economy crashes and 1987 Topps becomes the only traded currency.
Yeah. So this upset some people earlier. So expired redemptions. Are you SOL? Easy 1014 cards on Twitter said at Panini America, at Panini CSM, I just got this 1-of-1 redemption in a break. I know there have been issues with your site the last few days and trying to submit expired redemptions. Can you advise if this will be honored? Thanks. It was a 1-of-1. Was it Marquise Goodwin?
Marquise Goodwin, yep.
Yeah, of the Buffalo Bills at the time, and now he's a 49er. And it was from rookies in Panini Black, 2013 Panini Black. The card expired in 2015, so we're talking. I mean, it's 5 years. It's been expired almost 5 years at this point. Off the point, because there's stuff that expires from So you're talking. You got about a 2-year window to have a redemption entered. And before, Panini was really good about helping assist with getting those expired redemptions, at least getting something in your hands for that expired redemption. Well, at Panini CSM tweeted out, "Hello, we'll no longer accept expired redemptions." And then it went back and forth like, "Hey, what's going on with this?" There's a bunch of tweets and stuff in between there. Their follow-up was, "Sorry, but we can't do anything going forward for any expired redemptions." And that was kind of it. I hadn't seen, I tried to look too, I hadn't seen anywhere else where they had said they were no longer accepting expired redemptions. And I mean, I could have missed it. Not that they have to tell us out there, but because they were the one company that was accepting these expired redemptions, you think that information might come out, or if there are issues with people trying to enter expired redemptions. I kind of know how Ben feels on this, and I kind of sit in the same way. The thing is redemptions are nature of the beast. And when product gets over 2 years old, you have to assume that you might get something and it will not ever get fulfilled. I just want to know what you guys think about them just kind of glossing over and just kind of saying, we just don't accept them anymore. If what they said was okay, or the way they did it was okay, because they can do whatever they want. It's their company, right? But the way it was presented out, that we found out.
So from a customer service standpoint, it's not an ideal way to roll out the program. Just reply to someone and say, "Yep, that's the official policy going forward, that we're no longer honoring redemptions." You would think, and Panini's usually been pretty good about this, so I'm really kind of surprised about running out a news update saying from 2 weeks out from now, or on such and such date in the future, we will no longer accept expired redemptions. It's kind of shocking to see them do this. And I mean, I get both, one, that you have to have them in products, or you just have one product a year. But two, unfortunately, some people just don't sign, or they don't provide the material, or it gets lost in the mail, or any number of reasons that things don't get fulfilled, and it's unfortunate. But you would think that they would roll out this program a little bit better than this is the policy change.
Yeah. Yeah, we had talked about this on the hobby hotline, and so I made comments about, from a collector standpoint, it's a little disappointing, but the example given was a product that, it was 7 years old. The redemption expired 5 years ago. I can totally see, them saying, at what point are they no longer obligated to fulfill it from their perspective, right? You have the collector side, we're all disappointed. You have the business side that says, hey, we have a finite amount of space. At what point should we have to continue? They probably should have been a little bit more diplomatic in how they rolled it out and said, hey, as of May 31st, and gave people some time. But I don't have a problem with, hey, this is just from now going forward. We're right in the middle of a pandemic. Our co-host on the Hobby Hotline, Drew Herndon, mentioned something that was interesting. He goes, this could be a direct one-off from Kobe Bryant's passing. Kobe had a lot of redemptions that were out. He had products that were coming up that he hadn't yet signed at the time of his tragic passing. And it could be one of those things where Panini wanted to get ahead of it. What happens in this event that we have a Jose Fernandez, a Kobe Bryant type thing? Everybody's time comes at some point. are they making the decision from that perspective? Of course, we weren't in the room. It was just one thought that Drew had. It's tough to say, but the bottom line is, buyer beware, right? If you're going to buy something from 2016, 2017, understand you pull a redemption. Should Panini offer at least Panini points or something to drive you to the site, or a 10% coupon off your next purchase of $50 or more? Maybe so, but that's not our decision to make. We're not there. We don't know what their bottom line is, and it's a business decision.
So, and I think that was just brought up in chat that I'll throw to you guys. What happens with the cards that they have that are no longer being redeemed? Do they just get destroyed? And does anyone want to go dumpster diving?
I don't. They give them away, right? Or put them on the Panini point site?
I think they got to Panini points eventually. Like right now, there's a ton of Kent Bazemore up there. It looks like, back when he was with the Atlanta Hawks, you can buy him for like 150, 200 Panini points.
I don't. I think it's speculation at this point, to know what they're going to do with those. Part of this, though, too, is they did announce a couple weeks ago that they were overhauling their customer service portal. I think that was the language that they used. So that was my curiosity is this change tied to something like that? Because it seems like something is changing with how they're doing handling replacements, damaged cards, redemptions. And then this is a hugely significant claim. I did a little bit of digging, and legally they're covered. On their website, there was one of those legal documents, terms of service, and it did say that, once a redemption is expired, it's expired. Like, they don't have any responsibility for it, and it is the way it is. I'm someone I have a hard time defending redemptions as a collector. Like, we didn't have them before, and we had lots of autographs before. I get why they exist. Things have changed. The whole business model has changed, and it's still tricky. Yeah.
I just 2 years with the way people hold products based on, a lot of people were getting freaked out because of Louise Roberts' first Bowman. His autograph, and those were all redemptions, and that expiration date I think has passed. I think it was April this year, and so people sometimes sit on product like that, and 2 years, is that enough time? I mean, should it be maybe 3 years? I mean, it's up to them, but I'm not a fan of them. I had a buddy that pulled a Luis Robert redemption out of, I think, Gypsy Queen, and just sold it instantly because he didn't want to deal with the hassle of it, because he turned in a redemption that's like 2 years old with Topps and still hasn't gotten the card. And there's nothing they've been able to work out. It was a very high-end card. And so he just kind of like, after that, he was like, hey, every time I get them, I sell them or I trade them away because I don't want to have the headache later down the road. And if I, get rid of it for less than maybe what I should have, oh well, because I don't have to deal with it. So it's just something we kind of have to deal with. But I think this could have gone in a different way. I think they really could have handled this in a different way. But rather than just saying, yep, nope, we don't take them anymore. Thanks. Because they were one of the ones that was always really like, hey, yeah, we'll figure something out. Mm-hmm. This was kind of the Upper Deck approach where it was like, sorry, it expired. Or like, I remember I had a friend that got an Upper Deck redemption, and it was printed really poorly, and then no one could figure out the code. And they tried to get with somebody with Upper Deck, and they said, well, if you can't enter the code, then you can't redeem it. And it hadn't expired. And it was a bad print on the code.
So here's something interesting, right? You have to assume that the Bowman first edition autographs are going to be redemptions, right? I mean, if it was a off the press product that just came out over the last couple of weeks as a supplement, these can't be live in signatures. So I'm assuming that.
I disagree. I think I thought that this was like a version of regular Bowman that they stamped, but the numbers on the back are different, or at least I assume they are, because it's like BFE. I don't actually. My suspicion is that this was going to happen no matter what.
Okay.
Whether we were stuck at home or.
Well, it also could be because of Dominguez and Bobby Witt.
Yeah.
So we don't know what they're going to look like. So yeah, okay, maybe they are live autos, but let's assume there's at least a handful of redemptions present. You know, even if it's just 2 or 3 players. You know, the point being is, let's go ahead and say some of the stuff starts getting opened and hits the secondary market. It'll be interesting to see that Topps hasn't announced any intention of not, doing anything with redemptions that have expired, to my knowledge. But what happens if you start opening this up and you start to see all these Bowman redemptions coming out from first edition? On the other hand, we were just saying that maybe people keep this product closed and try to speculate on it for a while. But if there's a bunch of redemptions with a hard date of a 2-year window, maybe all of a sudden that stuff starts getting open because you want to get that redeemed as soon as possible.
I think what we'll see before that is when a player gets hot, we'll see it get opened. That's kind of the Bowman way. Yeah, we'll see.
The most fun thing about Bowman, though, is opening it and then putting it in a box and like 2 years later grabbing it. I have a box that just says prospects. And every time, I'll buy collections, or I have collections kind of like give it to me, and I come through and I go through I'll find a big vein of Bowman cards, and I'll look and I'll go see if there's any names I know that I need to pull out. Occasionally there are, and majority of the time there's not, and so I throw them in this prospects box. Well, every couple of years I go back and I dive in there, and lo and behold, hey, this guy, oh look, this Aaron Judge guy is finally coming up and people want to collect his cards. Oh, okay, that's great. And so it doesn't always happen, but it's kind of fun to do, and spring training rolls around to go back a few years and look at those old Bowman cards and see what you have. So kind of buyer beware, I guess. But I just think it could be I did customer service for a long time. I really think that could be handled in a whole better way, and maybe they'll adjust and put something out, but we will see. So Project 2020, the Topps release where they're doing the 20 cards, 20 iconic rookie cards with 20 different artists this year. Watch the breaks. I even put out this tweet. It's literally, and this was a few days ago, it's literally the same 7 eBay sellers getting the Project 2020 artist proofs every single day. Hashtag Bot Wars. Because if you go and look, there are a handful that they were, have, and you go down, you can see who the seller is, and they had, quite a few of the artist proof versions of the cards, of the ones that have come out so far. And I think, and a good point was brought up, is I think that the reason now you have to log in is maybe to help skew that, so not all the same guys or quote bots are getting the artist proof cards. But I mean, look here, this guy, there's artist proof Jackie, Don Mattingly, the Willie, the Mark McGuire. Oh, and look, in some Bowman's first edition. So I don't know what you guys think. I think everybody tries to hop on there at the same time, unless they're getting a pre-window because there's some, platinum online purchaser of, products with Topps. Because I know sometimes, like with the Topps on-demand sets, some of those guys get special emails once you have purchased enough, where you get a heads up to when things are coming out, or email specifics on what's coming out. I just wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were on what Ivan thinks is that these artist proofs are all going to the same handful of people.
It's awful curious as Steph's scrolling through eBay, and this guy only has a handful of stuff listed, unless I was mistaken. I mean, how many items did that guy have listed?
It looked like there's maybe 20.
Yeah, and half of them are very low numbered, highly sought after artist proofs numbered out of 20. It stops there shortly after.
Limited edition shoes, first off the line stuff.
And an Animal Crossing card I saw too.
And an Animal Crossing card, yep. Never scanned Amiibo.
Yeah, I mean,
we'd be excited.
If you're seeing these on somebody who's got 10,000 listings, 5,000 listings, 2,000 listings, it's a fluid account where a lot of cards are being listed. It always looks suspicious. As a buyer who buys a ton on eBay, if I see something, especially if it's got a higher shipping cost, I always go to look and see if there's anything else I can do to kind of buy that shipping cost down. Is there anything else I'm looking for that the seller might have? And when you start to see stuff like that, it just seems very odd. Like, how did you acquire all of this low numbered stuff?
Even those Supreme Oreo cookies too.
It just in demand or limited quantity, or with everyone home now, everyone wanting a Switch to play Animal Crossing.
Can I play devil's advocate here? Do I think it's a bot? Yeah, it certainly looks like it. However, could these bots also be driving demand and making us want to, because now all of a sudden we see these prices go up. Can that in some ways help things? Not necessarily. And collector, not necessarily. Because when I first saw the artist proof, I'm like, that's the regular card with the metal frame. Why do I want to pay an extra $80 for a metal frame? It didn't register with me, but because we can't get it, does that make it seem that unattainability that helps drive the price up? No?
For some, sure. For just speaking as a McGuire collector, no, it was cost prohibitive at $100 because it's cost prohibitive at 20 times 20. So for me, it was an easy, okay, no thanks. But it also, and Ryan, I'm interested on your thoughts on this. The more I talk about this on our show, on the Hobby Hotline, and through Twitter, private conversations and open conversations, I don't think that the card collector, is the primary consumer. I really think it's the artist's following. I think it's the art collector is the number one. I think we're number 2 or number 3, right? I think that we're further down, so we're more irritated or get pissy about the price and this and that. And it's like, but I don't think we're the target.
Yeah, I really don't. I agree. It's definitely a crossover product. You can even see, like, as soon as I saw the artist list and kind of started looking at them before the first ones even went for sale, I'm like, oh, okay. So there's, that street appeal involved with it, because it wasn't. Topps is working with a lot of artists right now, I think, more than any company for their, definitely in sports, because they have so many things that use art now. It was the very defined group of artists where I agree with that. I think it's very much the modern art movement, the pop art. I don't really know the modern art movement. I just see these cards and I'm like, these are way different than everything else that's out right now. And even though I don't necessarily like all of them or even get all of them, I respect the majority of them. Okay, the ones with the black lines, I'm still struggling with.
Thank you.
I saw a tweet. I did see a tweet, though, that was like almost like, oh, okay. It's actually some sort of weird overlay. So there's an effect to it somehow. But I don't know. I guess I'll see in a while when Griffey comes up, because I've kind of decided to do the Griffey run at this point, at least.
Yeah, I'm going to do the Brett run. My question is there was the Tony Gwynn that the picture didn't even look anything like his rookie card.
Yeah.
And it actually looked like a card that a guy on Twitter, Booby Main, had made years before.
Yeah.
I don't get that one.
The only thing that I could think of, like, I tried to wrap my head around it, and I'm like, that font is, like, bad. Like, really, really bad. So the only thing that I could think of is if he took that idea of the rookie card and totally turned it around even more, and it was a 1983 font. So whatever a cool font or typeface is today in 2020, maybe whatever that is was big in 1983. I don't even think so.
But that card looks like something I made on, like, word art in 1998.
Or he's sticking the middle finger up to all of us collectors and going, hey, let's see what people will buy, and I'm going to make it intentionally bad.
Yeah, and Tony Gwynn's really gotten the worst of it, because the other one, the guy did the Bob Gibson, and it looked really cool. The first one was Gibson's head, and it had the kind of like the retro writing, but the follow-up, the one he did with Gwynn, looked
No, his is the Koufax is his second
There's
one.
the Koufax. Yeah, the Koufax is number 2.
Okay,
I
the
like
Koufax
the Koufax. The Koufax to me is it's still it looks like a 53 Bowman color to me.
Well, no,
That's what I
not
was
this
thinking.
one. I was talking about the other. I'll see if I can find it, Steph. The other Tony Gwynn that they released. Like, I just think he's gotten a bad run of cards. Yeah, that Padres one right there.
Yeah, that's a different artist.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I just think he's gotten, between the 2 cards he has out, he's gotten done dirty.
One.
I know this is the circle photo from the '83. I feel like
I like this Gwynn, but my thought is, okay, you have guys like, McGuire, right? Henderson. Their profile picture, they're from the side. You don't have a bubble picture like Mattingly and Gwynn to pull up. You don't have a face shot like Koufax and Robinson and Williams and so many of the other guys. It's going to be really interesting to see what this particular artist does with McGuire and Henderson and Frank Thomas and a couple of the other guys that don't really have a photo on their original card that will go into that bubble, because you have to assume that he's going to try to make them look all that way.
Yeah, and I'm just upset that George Brett we're 2 cards in, and he only has 1 card. Where some guys have 3. It looks like he's gonna have 1 tomorrow, so I'll be, picking that up. But it's okay. There's some other issues. So Paul Lesko brought up, the real question is, what is the definition of an air card for this hobby? Is it just a card with something wrong on it, or something else? Like, do Project 2020 cards have the original on the back of them? Original being misspelled, missing an I. Yeah.
Well, it'd be the UER by the old school definitions, where it is an error, yes, but it's uncorrected, and we don't get multiple print runs anymore, so it really doesn't.
It's okay. I just thought it was funny that it took us this long to realize that it was misspelled on the back.
Well, of
Who
course,
looks at the back of cards?
That's true.
Especially
of course,
online Topps ones that are all the same.
Yeah.
So, and just very interesting. So we kind of talked about, like, 20, what's going to happen the rest of this year, what might happen next year. Steph had a really good question, and I kind of expanded it. If we don't have a baseball season this year, Topps update really is where rookie cards kind of explode. I mean, you're getting your all-star cards in there. You're getting a lot of guys that debuted through the season there. That's where the rookie cards come. There's not an update factory set that's sold, so the only way you can get these cards is through packs, which gives an interesting element and makes it just a little more collectible than, say, from a Series 1 or 2. But what if Series 2020 Series 1 also, they'll be without rookie cards because the guys haven't played yet. What do you guys think that will look like?
Well, so logically, I would... One, it depends on how the season shakes out. But 2, I think that they would end up holding back a few players just so that they're available for either update or Series 1, however you want to choose to look at it. Well, if nobody's playing, are they really going to release the Series 2?
Well, but I'm saying, but Series 2's got to be printed already at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Or about
on
to
its
be.
way. Because it was scheduled to come out June 5th or something like that.
Well, but and that's what I was getting to, was that, so if there's not a season, they're probably not going to do update, because what's the point?
That's true.
So roll it into Series 1 next year.
Yeah.
Or have a all online first edition product, apparently.
Yeah, no, I think what we'll see happen is, I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago, actually, was update doesn't make sense. If there's no season, Series 1 and Series 2 is going to cover the movements. Series 2, I'll be shocked if we don't see a airbrushed Mookie Betts Dodgers card, all the trades. With the Throwback Thursday, we're already seeing guys other than Luis Robert who haven't played yet getting cards. So it seems like there's probably like 4 guys who are expected to be on opening day rosters, whenever that may be, they're already getting allowed to make MLB cards of them. So I think we'll see to help prop up Series 2. It wouldn't shock me if we see a couple more of those types of guys. And Robert as well. Like he'll have a Series 2 card for sure at this point.
Yeah.
But where things get iffy is update. If there's no season, I don't see how you do update. And if it's guys playing video games, update doesn't exist to me, even if it does exist.
Or like that
Bowman
bad.
draft,
Oh yeah.
Bowman draft won't happen. I don't see how do you do Bowman draft if there's no draft this year. So we shall see.
Yeah. So what does happen with, especially like, I can understand the high school kids because they have the options to end up going to college, right? But those college guys, like, where do they go next year to play baseball if they don't get drafted and they have to sit out? You know, they're going to go play. If we're able to play baseball, they have independent leagues. So there's another thing that's opened up.
40 cities are going to have baseball stadiums with no teams at the start of next year. So we could see some independent leagues open up for sure for that.
Yeah, some bandwagon teams like the back in the day.
And if travel bans get lifted, even if the sports don't come back right away, you might see some of these guys go down to Venezuela and the Dominican and stuff like that and go play in international ball somewhere.
Or Korea,
somehow.
Japan, yeah.
Yeah, Korean baseball cards are going to be the big thing in 6 months.
Yeah,
They do have some
Hey,
shiny
we
stuff.
have 2 hookups over there, so if you need to get it,
we do.
we got guys. Yeah, and you know what the funny thing is they're not here tonight hanging out with us. They usually
Dan was here. Dan was here earlier.
Oh, was he?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
My
haven't
fault.
seen George tonight.
Yeah, so no, we have some guys that could get us hooked up with Korean cards.
Yeah,
And we could-
George KBO Collectibles sent us a couple of packs a couple of months back, and it was wild opening up packs from Korea first and foremost, and then opening them up and seeing all the Korean writing on it and going,
oh,
and
I
then
know what that says.
you have no idea if these guys are good. And I kind of took up some pictures and sent them to him. He goes, "Oh, that's a good one." I'm like, "Okay, I'll take your word for it." But it's fun. It was something different, which is neat.
Yeah, I know. Very interesting. So since we have Ryan here, he had this article that he put out about a month ago. 11 things sports card collectors could do while they're stuck at home, and we figured we'd go through it. And if you guys have some questions for Ryan as well, shoot them to us in the chat, and we'll go through what we can there while we do have Ryan on tonight. So, Steph, lead the way, bud.
So we'll lead with what I'm the king of and need to do still. Cleaning your desk.
Oh. That's not cards. Where are the cards, though? Are those blank CDs? Do you have blank CDs on your desk?
No.
Okay, I thought I saw blank CDs.
And then
Pop bottle.
a thing with the little USB nubs. But no, cleaning your desk. Perfect time to do it. There's no reason I need my dad's keyboard on the desk here.
Well, I don't even want to. You know what? I'm going to show you. So, the one thing I've been trying to do. Oh, good lord! The one thing I've been trying to do is behind me. You always see this wall of cards, and I'm running out of stuff for the stuff that I actually want to hold on to because I was holding on to all these base cards, and for whatever reason. So I decided I'm going to sort them out all by team, fill flat rate boxes, and hey, collectors, if you want to cover the shipping, I'll send you the box. And I've gone through most of the cards, but let me show you here what we're dealing with at the moment. I had to kind of clean
Not
up.
a Pop-Tart.
So over here, all the lids, the sorting, and all of these boxes down here sorted by teams. And then there's more over here. And then I also took on a collection this week as well that I'm going through, which was it wasn't a ton of stuff, but it was like 10 800 count boxes and a 3200 count box, and I need to go through that was given to me. So yeah, my room
just
went
see all those uniform binders.
What's up?
The binder wall is beautiful.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, and I have to clean this one out behind me. I don't know. I think I'm going to get rid of the Legos because I need more space because I have more binders.
Keep the Lego. Lego is good.
Yeah, I know. So last night I was sorting cards for so long. I binged all 10 episodes of Lego Masters.
So we watched them over like a 3-week period. And
I watched them all in one night.
We watched the first one as a joke. And I was just like, this is just something for Bentley to watch. He's 6, whatever. And then before we know it, we're like, shh, cut it out. Quit talking, guys. And my dad and I are diehard into it. And it's impressive what you can do with Legos when you have $1 million worth of Legos at your disposal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to encourage my son to be a Lego engineer over in Denmark.
Yeah.
No selfish reasons whatsoever.
Could go work at the Mall of America.
So what's number 2? What's number 2?
Real quick, what you got to always bring in Minnesota.
No,
nobody likes Minnesota. Nobody wants to go to Minnesota. People
for
have
anyone
to go to
who hasn't been, they have an impressive Lego display in the middle of
Legoland.
I've been to Legoland, bro. That's where and it's in San Diego.
Man.
The weather's amazing every day of the year down there.
He's got Legoland on the back of his shelf.
And Chris Carlin is mayor of Legoland.
Yeah, come on, dude.
So anyway,
down with Minnesota. What's number 2?
What's number 2? Is we got way off topic.
What is number 2?
Get organized. There we go. Let's get organized.
So that's like a 1B. Clear your desk and get organized. Let's do this. Get a database going. Find out what you got, what you want to collect, and let's do this. I can't tell you, as organized as I am, how many times I buy the same thing twice.
Well, hey, you know what the funny thing is I finally got checklists done for all my Royals and all my Giants and my George Brett collection, and I've actually sorted all the monster boxes I had of Royals and Giants singles, and I've marked them off on the checklist. Now they're going into the binders, which is why I need more binder space. So I just think I need a bigger house at this point.
You do. We should just buy a mansion together and shove the kids and the wives in their own.
Funny thing is this happened. My wife and I were talking, like we wanted to buy another house and use the current house as a rental property. The prices were so high, but now everything's coming down. So I'm kind of like, this might end up being a blessing in disguise in the long run for us. But anyway, let's get organized. I love it. By the way, if you need to help getting organized, reach out to us or reach out to me. Don't reach out to staff so much.
Yeah, look at his desk. Horrible.
Yeah.
He's got CDs on there from 1994.
I got some really great.
He's got Cheetos on there from 2007. Look at that.
Yeah.
I helped my parents clean out their cabinets downstairs, and we found a thing of salad dressing that expired in 2015.
Oh, that's nothing.
That's just going straight in the garbage can.
We used to play this game when we visit my grandma, and whoever could find the oldest thing, she moved in 2001, the summer of 2000. I'm sorry, the summer of 2000 she moved. When they moved, they found things from the 80s that had expired. Well, when she moved out of that house, she lived there like 16, 17 years. They found stuff that expired in the 80s again. She'd moved it and still kept it. It was mostly medicine, so I hope she wasn't taking it.
Years ago, I'm working at Hostess. It's like 2010, 2011, and they were doing a reset of the spice aisle, and they found a spice that had expired in 1988. And the thing is, not only is it on the shelf, but spices, at least that one had like a 20-year shelf life. So it literally had to be at that Bel Air since like 1969. It was there before the moon landing.
So did you sell it on eBay?
I should have grabbed it, man. That would have been awesome. But I'm just thinking, what if somebody had bought that?
Yeah.
Their paprika would have just been.
Yeah. So what else is on this list is we're just like off the rails now. It's after dark. Continue to support card shops and dealers. Definitely. I know our local shop does a thing where they I think twice or 3 times a week they have a drive-by window time frame set up. So if you want to buy product, you come by at that point in time and you can, and basically they have you call in and they'll shop for you, let they know what they have, and they bring you up and all that stuff, and you can grab and go.
Yeah, get into some online breaks.
Yeah,
I've walked a few people through some breaks and point people towards Mojo Break and things for questions about if you're new to the breaking, that era of the or that side of the hobby.
And from what I understand is that they're slamming, super busy.
Oh yeah, it's really interesting to see. I had predicted that this the winter was here, so to speak, and I just think people have so much time and disposable income at their disposal right now, especially with the stimulus checks that people have received already, and it's really interesting.
My eBay store has been on fire this week, and I have nothing really spectacular up there. Mostly, it's just I have parallels and autos and relics and stuff, but nothing to write home about. And it's been just non-stop. It's been crazy. So what's number 4?
Number 4, check out some online breaks.
There we go.
Hand in hand.
Number 5, make and update your want and trade list. All right. These are things we're doing. Number 6, I feel like flip through a binder, especially if they're pretty. Number 7, reassess your collection.
Flip it through a binder
right now.
I think what's that drug high that this hobby gives us, where we find a card we need, and then we get it and we catalog it however we choose to. And if you put it in a binder or a box, you forget about it, and we don't take enough time to appreciate what we already have. And out of this whole article, which I read twice, and now we're going line by line, and I think that's the one that really resonated with me. Is like, why shouldn't I just pull out my 2017 binder and just look through it and enjoy the A's team?
All your Justin Fowler autographs.
I looked through an old prospect binder that had Stanton and Haywards and Trouts and Harpers in it, and I found a 2011 Bowman Chrome Trout in there. And then on the very back page, I found all of my Little League cards, and I'm just like, oh God, millions of dollars I just found. Best prospect. I got Trout autos in there and Harper autos, and then I got me in there, and I'm just thinking, amazing. Crickets. Yeah. Really? Come on. Ryan, what's
all you had were Ace cards?
No. I got all kinds of stuff you'd salivate over.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's one of those that I have a real appreciation for the people who are supremely dedicated, and whenever they get a package or they get a new card or they finish off a set, they take videos or they put up a blog post. And I guess it's really one way of sharing off what they have and sharing the experience of, I was missing card number 206 from this set, and I finally got it in the mail, and now I have it, and here it is.
And they put the video and they just show them putting the card into the page.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
It's a more than just a dedicated maybe surgical type where you just package rip cards. Okay, this one goes here, this one goes here, this one goes here, and it's off on the shelf. Forget about it.
I started doing this thing, and I don't know how it started. I think I got a PSA card in a trade of George Brett, one of his base cards, and it got me to thinking, like, well, why don't I do a run of all of his Topps flagship base cards, the Hall of Fame, or the base card, the All-Star card, or team leaders, or whatever. Like there's the Brett Brothers card. Whatever it happens to be, and getting a PSA, and a very smart collector once told me, sell 10s, buy 9s. Mm-hmm. And so I think from 80 through 94, they're all 9s. And before that, they're a mixture of 7s and 8s, I believe. My wife bought me the 75 and a 7 for our first anniversary. And I was like, okay, that's perfect. It's great for me. But I found the last card I needed was a 1991 Topps George Brett card, 540, and I finally found it this morning at 4:30 a.m. The little girl woke us up, and so I was flipping through eBay. It had just popped. I bought it. It's going to be here by the end of the week, and it's the last one I need. And I have them all on display, and with my autographed bat, and I love it. And I felt so good to finally find it. It was like, my wife's like, how many of those 91, I showed her the card. She goes, you have like 10 or 12 of these just right here. I said, yeah, but I got to send it in and get it graded and hope it gets a 9 on it. Plus it's going to cost me like $25-$30 to even get it graded and down there and back. I can buy it for like $15 and I'm just wait it out. Found it. I think I paid it was a buy it now for $16.95, and I was like, done. done. Just let's complete this thing. And I'm over ecstatic to get a 91 Topps George Brett.
And there's nothing more satisfying. Like when you're flipping through the internet and you see like a really delicious like dessert that somebody is creating, go, man, that's awesome. I would love to bite that, right? I'd love to eat that. To me, it's the same thing when you see one of our friends on Twitter complete that set, and if they show you the video of them sliding that final card into that page, you're just like reaching out crying like, my God, that's so beautiful. I too would enjoy being able to do that with one of my, whether it's a personal or, like a player rainbow or something like that, or whatever it is, especially if it's a complete set, that's even more awesome. But I think we all can empathize and just, can't wait for me to be that one to is able to complete that set.
So we're on 7. We have to get to 11. So what are the next couple ones, Steph?
Do it. All right.
Show off what
you've got. Awesome. Craft with cards. I did that for Robbie. I got a letter R from Hobby Lobby, and I glued a bunch of 87 Topps to it and wrote a note on the back. And I used the only, what I should have done is I should have put a McGuire on there, and I did not. I have a Bo Jackson Future Stars card on there and a bunch of other All-Star and Hall of Famers.
I kind of like the idea that Cracknell and a few others have done where they get the logo man, the manufactured patch that are signed, and spelling out the name.
That's cool.
And
those are fun, yeah.
Become a creator.
Well, we did that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We did. And there's a lot of our friends. It seems like,
seems like everybody we've had on the show has a podcast.
Yeah, CRT did some. Mark Del Franco on Twitter was talking about maybe I should do a podcast, and I gave him a little bit of advice. I said, if you decide to do a podcast, do it for you. Don't do it with the intent of having people listen or watch. Just do it for you and have fun. Be true to yourself and what you collect and what you enjoy, because that's the only way you're going to be a unique creator. If you're doing it hoping people are going to listen, or you start to cater to, the masses, it's going to turn into something you don't want it to be. And, just have fun with it. Really, at the end of the day, have fun with it because it's a hobby.
Well, we have so many articles, even if it's through Instagram and doing an Insta story, or it's on Periscope and posting a video of you ripping a pack or two or showing off a box. And it's just putting stuff out there, doing a blog post and sharing it. It's one of those things, and I love it. I mean, there's so much inspiration that's out there that other people have sparked us to help create, or we borrowed from, or we've done for them, or anything like that. And it's so much fun to see somebody that you've met through this online world.
Yeah,
that's really how we all got together, and it expands out to something more. So,
yeah, there was our friend Rev Collector on Twitter. He collects Mets, and he's a reverend back in New York. And without getting religious, that's what he does, right? He's got faith in God, and he did like an 11-minute video on his faith, and he tied it into cards, and like an 83 Darryl Strawberry, and what it meant to him and his relationship with his dad. And it was just like, wow, he gave his testimony, and what a neat way to create a YouTube video. And tie it into personal stuff as well as tie it into the hobby all at the same time. So if you have a laptop or you got a phone, click record and just talk, upload it, share your thoughts.
And there was a video, and this was a month or 3 back that those back pages put out, Eric, where we never know truly, especially now it's kind of pressing, but we never know truly how much time we have and what how long we're going to stay in the hobby, or how long we can keep up the hobby. That if you record something, put it out, and if it only lasts a year, hey, at least your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids have something that potentially they can go back and listen to and see, well, that's what my grandfather was doing in 2020 during the whatever you want to call this.
Yeah, I wrote a novel a few years back, and I'd love to get it edited and find it, its way to get published. And it was awesome to write it. It was cathartic, and if nobody ever reads it outside of my wife and my parents and my kids, at least it's a legacy piece that I can give to them and say, listen, hey, Dad wrote this, and hopefully you find something in there that you have a piece of me when I'm dead and gone. And so yeah, hey. there's no such thing as too much content. It may not be for everybody, and that's fine. But create, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, last one here, stay in touch. So, yeah, and reaching out and the thing is just checking in on somebody. If it's sending them a quick text or a DM like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm thinking about you today. Hope all's well." You might get a spark conversation. I did that with a friend that I hadn't talked to in a while and was having some rough times no one knew about. And we talked on the phone for a little bit, and it was really great. And I think we both left that conversation feeling better and kind of renewed our friendship. And it's awesome. So I mean, you might not have a collector that lives in your town that or next that you can reach out to, but online, man, there's so many of us to reach out and make it. I mean, that's how I met all you guys. I mean, there's without Twitter or anything, who knows if I'd even be in this hobby. And
it's such an incredible article, Ryan. What was the inspiration behind wanting to write this piece?
We were stuck at home. It was one of those, I don't know. Some days it just hits me. There's nothing that I feel or there's less pressing days sometimes. And I think part of it was we were heading into an unknown time. B, I've been living the quarantine life for the last 10 years. I work from home. So just kind of some of my own experiences of what it's like being home a lot and just making good of it. Like kind of one of the ways that I like to live life is just how do you make the best of something? So if something's going to suck, well, make it suck a little bit less, or, that'll turn your frown right upside down mentality of things. I think while I would love to be able to go out and do things again, I think there's been a lot of blessings involved with being home, just being around my family more, even though my kids are teenagers and they just want to play video games. And between Fortnite and Animal Crossing, I'm 18 but I can hear them talking. Like this whole weekend was my two kids bonding over Animal Crossing and just hearing them giggle and talk about Tom Nooks and whatever the currency is. And I don't get it. I don't get it, but I know that the tone of voice that they have when they're happy. And I know that they're best friends. And as they get older, it's harder to find those moments. So,
yeah.
If we didn't have this, we'd be running around town all day trying to get from point A to point B and whatever event was going on that day. We don't have those now. So we're home all night, and it just being together as a family is good. And, finding time for your life is so busy now. For me, a lot of collecting is just amassing things, and you don't really get to enjoy it. So I think maybe part of it was the reflection that way. I can't say, I don't know why I wrote it. It just
great piece.
Probably shower thinking.
That's where some great thoughts come in. I'm telling you.
It is. Now, real quick, if we can do a quick follow-up, we had a question earlier in the YouTube chat from our listener, Theoden. What's one or two of your favorite articles that you've written in the past?
32 fashion choices gone wrong in 1992 Bowman baseball was one of them. I think that's the title. It just, I love goofy cards. So really weird, funny cards that, yes, that's the one right there. That is the most beautiful card ever. And I just like looking at weird stuff and having fun with it. Like I really do come at collecting from the fun side.
That belt action, I remember doing that. That was the coolest thing you could do back in the day with the little rope belt thing. Yeah. I'm
looking at the sneakers. I want those sneakers now.
Yeah. It's like, what is that? Oh God, the picture place, like the picture people meet Bowman, right? Like, it's all glamour shots. There we go. He meets Bowman.
So there's I just scrolled through it. There's one person that I believe was part of that set, Mike Rossiter, who was with the A's at the time, and I'm friends with him on Facebook. And I found one in a box I was going through not maybe 2-3 weeks ago, And I said, "Hey, Mike, check this out." And he's like, "I got something for you." He responds with a picture in his closet. He still has the T-shirt from the card. That's awesome.
You should try and collect as many sweaters as you can from this set.
That's our new
amazing
that's our
collection.
You know what's funny is Todd Jones is probably still wearing this, by the way, because remember he played for the Astros? Yeah, he always looked. Oh, black jeans, white to the Jerry.
Dude, no, scroll back. Look at the shoes. The Reebok pump right there.
Yeah. He, by the way, does that not look like Jerry Seinfeld just with the outfit? You know, the black jeans, the white tint, the white shoes. Yeah, the polo. Yeah, looking sharp.
Or as I just call it, that's the dad look right there with the thin shirt and the white shoes.
So let's throw Rivera aside for a minute. How many of those guys really even? I mean, Buford was in the majors for a little while. I mean, most of these guys are no names nowadays. I mean, Blauser was in the majors for a while.
Not many of these guys make it to begin with. So
Urbina, look at him.
Was there.
I think Paul Bird's on here at some point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a handful that outside of course, Rivera. But now that's an awesome set. They need to bring that back. That's what we need in 2020 Topps update. We need a throwback to 92 Bowman.
They did, I think, and you know what? I'm going to take credit for this, even though I'm sure a bunch of people suggested it. I think it was 2016. There's my photoshopping pinnacle right there. It doesn't get better than that. I remember they were asking for ideas for what they wanted in Bowman, I think for 2017. And I'm like, dude, you got to throw it back to 92. And they did an insert set with, current guys in goofy outfits. At least not all of them were, but I think Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant definitely. Oh my gosh!
I'm pretty sure I saw this guy on an episode of Star Trek.
I just rewatched Oz, and he looks like a guy that could take anyone out.
I love that show. That's one of my all-time favorite shows. So if you're listening and not watching the YouTube feed, you definitely have to check out Ryan's piece from 2015, right?
It was a long time ago. That was a Saturday or a Friday afternoon piece of I'm just ready for the weekend. And if you type in 1992 Bowman fashion, I don't think you're going to get many results. I actually did realize recently the 92 or 93 Stadium Club update, whatever set, has some very similar photos. But I think it might be the Jeter year, so I haven't picked it up yet.
Looks like at least 2015.
Yeah, I think that's what came up.
Yeah, that would be about right.
It came up when I did a quick Google search. It looks like it was from September 10th, 2015.
Yeah, I also dropped the link in the chat, too.
Yeah, and we'll probably tweet that out tomorrow. You're going to have to take a look at it, read through it, because it's fun just to go back in time and see what fashion looked like back in the post-Saved by the Bell years.
You know,
that was pre-Saved by the Bell, or that was the Saved by the Bell era.
Yeah, because Saved by the Bell came out in '89, so yeah, it was about their junior year probably.
Yeah, this is all my junior high school. I had at least 3 of these shirts, I'm sure, wearing to junior high dances.
But did you have the touch responsive T-shirts?
Yeah, I did actually. I had one. It lasted 2 days, and then my mom threw it in the dryer, and it was dead. I may or may not have forgiven her for that.
This is an epic article because even if you're not familiar with this, you can go back and enjoy the lunacy between what we thought was cool back then, the clothes, the haircuts, the crew cuts. You know, that's awesome.
It was another one that was as fun for you that you enjoyed.
There was one that I dug up on 1997 Metal Universe. Magic of internet. This one came to mind as soon as I thought of the Bowman one, and it's just, again, looking at weird cards. It's like there's a story behind these, and this one we get to make up. And why is there a beehive on his hand? That's weird. Is it a beehive? I think that one's a beehive. And that's not even the weirdest one. So I tend not to take baseball cards seriously. They're baseball cards, and let's enjoy them for what they are. That's so the Kool-Aid Man. That's what I mention I didn't mention the Kool-Aid Man. That's an oh yeah.
That's what I love about baseball cards too. They're fun. We need more of the caricature cards and more of the. There's an insert I think last year in one of the sets. I forget which one it was that had like posters on the walls and it was a short print set. Yeah, it's supposed to be fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you want a nice 8x10 of a player, cool, you can go get one. But if you're collecting baseball cards, why not have them be fun and unique and different? I bought an old '93 milk bone Mark McGuire the other day, and it has him with two of his dogs. And
Yep.
I showed Heather, and I was like, "Look, this is probably going to be one of your favorite cards because she loves dogs." And I'm like, she goes, "Oh, that's so cool!" And I didn't have the heart to tell her that, that was 27 years old, so I'm sure those dogs are long gone. But what a neat card because it's different.
Yeah, and the sweaters in that set are something else too.
Oh
yeah.
That's the best sweater set of all time.
His long golden locks and stuff like that. It's like that card is so hideous, but it's also neat. And as a McGuire collector and an Ace collector, it was a must-have, and it was super cheap. So I took it off my checklist the other day and got it, and it's fun. Just like the Denny's hologram ones were fun, and the beef jerky cards were fun, and the old non-licensed cereal cards. The amount of Captain Crunch I had to eat to put together a 30-card set that you were never going to get because a couple of those cards were regional.
Oh, you wait until you pull an autograph out of a box and your mom keeps buying you the same dang cereal thinking that lightning's going to strike twice.
Oh, who'd you get?
Joe Carter, 1994.
That's all right, though. That was good back then.
That was really – it's in a one of the screw down holders that's like 3 inches thick still, and it will never get taken out of there. And it's the sentimental favorite in my collection, even though I'm not a Jays fan. Respect him, respect Joe Carter. But getting your first autograph card out of a box of cereal, that was awesome. Pretty cool.
I can still tell you my first autograph card I remember pulling was in football in '96 Skybox Autographics. Hunter Goodwin, tight end for the Minnesota Vikings.
Sounds like a WWE wrestler from
and I didn't even know they had autographs back. I mean, when I was, it was like a newest thing, and it was like, oh, there was actual autograph. And then I opened some more, and I got a David LaFleur autograph for the Cowboys. I was like, what? Just give me all the backup tight ends I could get.
He was supposed to be the next Jay Novacek, wasn't he? And then Novacek never.
Well, he never really panned out. He was 6'7", playing tight end, played at LSU. I think he just was too big to play. Plus then Aikman was all done, and
yeah, well, and Aikman was never really because I remember LaFleur got drafted really high in my fantasy football league like 3 years in a row based on potential. He was always ranked like in the top 10 just because of him being a Cowboy or some stupid thing, and he never panned out.
Best fans to have in a fantasy football league, Cowboy fans.
Yeah,
Cowboy and Raider guys. They always draft their guys. It's like, that's stupid. Thank you. Dak Prescott #1. Yeah. Woo. David Carr.
Congrats, you just lost.
Yeah. Thanks for your donation. Anything else before we head out tonight? Ryan, you have anything you want to share? Or anything big coming up?
No. Not that I can. I would like to say so, but we went through the calendar. I'm stuck in my house for a couple more weeks at least, and the excitement for me was sneaking out to the drive-thru to get a coffee.
Yeah.
So
has that not been like I've done that a couple of times where I've been the first guy at the Starbucks across the street from my house, like about 6 a.m. Like I'll surprise my wife, and it's like this tastes so good. Like
I forget what Starbucks tastes like. That would be my office 3 days a week before.
Yeah.
And
they walk in, it's all Ryan, kind of like Norm on Cheers. And
no, then I never go back. As soon as I get recognized, I stop going to a place. It's not, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't know if that's normal, but if I get the sense that I'm a regular, I stop. I have enough choices. I will go elsewhere and be anonymous.
I used to get recognized at this Chinese restaurant up the street from where I worked, and they got my name off my card, right, when they swiped it, but they'd like, hey, Ben, and I'm just like, God, I eat here too much.
Yeah.
There's a Subway shop here in Arlington that me and Angela can literally walk in, and the guy's like, number 10 double meat, no, not the specialty thing, and she wants the number 11 single.
When I had my coffee
white.
shop, we didn't know anybody's name, but we could tell you what you drank. You know, if you were 10 feet away from us, you're walking towards us, we would get your drink going before you even got there.
Yeah.
We had people flagging us down like, no, I'm going to order something different this time.
Yeah, when I worked at Best Buy, we had a Starbucks that knew quite a few of us by name, and we'd walk in the door, and it was already started as we were walking in. So, guys, any final thoughts before we head out tonight? Been a great, fun show. Check out the Hobby Hotline this Saturday. It sounds like we might have Tracy. We should have Tracy Hackler on. It sounds like everything's going well. Steph, you got anything, bud?
Not really. Stay safe, and Ryan, Whataburger's on us next time you're down.
Okay, might be a while, but
of course.
Okay, then.
Right. If I want the Chick-fil-A, is Chick-fil-A an option too?
Chick-fil-A is an option.
All right, then, Ryan. When you're in Sacramento coming to see Shep and I, In-N-Out Burgers on Shep.
Well, hey, by the way,
here.
I think I'm making a road trip.
In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A on 80 and Madison in the same parking lot, so you could get like one thing, a drink from, or fries from one, a burger from whatever. We could, get wild and mix them.
Whoa,
I got a van at seat 7. There's plenty of room for social distancing while we eat our burgers.
I think
the last
people.
Real quick, the last people that were in that van have never been seen. So remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms. Last week, we were at like 481 subs on YouTube.
I think someone mentioned before show that I think we're like 4 short.
Yeah, we're like 4 short of 500. So nice.
We also had the giveaway of the lucky card. We can push that till next week.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to put that in the notes. And because we were having such an awesome guest on, I wanted to make sure we had time. We'll do that with Dub next week. Remember, he's going to come and hang out, talk NFL draft with us and with the prospects land and what that was like. Follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Stefan at Junkwax Twins. Follow Ryan at Trader Cracks. And check out his articles on Beckett.com. You can always follow me at Big Chef 79. We were pot. Make sure to share your hobby stories and great polls and send your questions our way. Keep collecting, and we will see you all next week. Have a good weekend, guys.